uprising. This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. Well, we always talk on this channel, we, me, you, all of us, as, you know, people who are awake. So we know what the left-right paradigm is about. It's not very popular to be kind of where we are, to not have a political affiliation. I know there's still people who listen who are Trump supporters, aka Republicans. And that's fine if that's what you would like to be. If you'd like to believe that your vote counts, if you'd like to believe this stuff, you're more than allowed to believe it. Don't kill the messenger here who says, don't count because this ain't a republic. But we can agree to disagree, because at the end of the day, does it make a difference? If you need to feel that little bit of self-worth, I guess, you know, as if you're American and it counts like you're not a science experiment, then go ahead. Me, well, I've already accepted the reality. I can deal with the fact that we're science experiments at this point, because we are. But this is one of the funnier things you'll see from CNN, which ties in the left-right paradigm, and how they're showing the map of who voted in what state in affiliation with who got the jab and who didn't. So it works perfectly in everything that all of us who are awake say about the left-right paradigm and how they've been trying to divide the left and right, and obviously they are divided. I mean, politics has never been more annoying than it is now. 20 years ago, nobody cared what affiliation somebody had with a party and what their vote was. Now it's, I can't stand you because you're this and I'm that, red versus blue. And of course, everybody wastes their time and energy focusing on this instead of focusing on the small amount of people who are the controllers who we could overthrow and get out of here if we actually did something about it. But unfortunately, we can't, because there's a huge cluster of blob slobs in the way who are just left, right, left, right. So here is Brian Stelter. Has anyone seen this guy before? I mean, I know I cover these news articles from CNN and stuff. Has anyone seen this guy? How is this guy on TV? Could anyone be more annoying or boring or strange looking than this guy? I mean, I'm doing a quick search on this guy right now. Brian Stelter. Let me get his wiki pulled up. Brian Patrick Stelter of CNN. Let's see. All right. He's 30. This guy's 35? Whoa, that hairline didn't cooperate. Holy moly. Imagine having that at 35. Let's see. I'm assuming he's LG, by the way he talks and acts. Let's see if he's, let's see if he had a previous career in the fudge industry. Oh, wait, he's married. Let's see, the couple, he's married to someone. They married in a Jewish ceremony. I'm shocked now. Now I've seen it all. A Jews hanker, married in a Jewish ceremony. Wow. Anyway, you see, even in real time, I can get shocked and surprised. Actually, I'm not shocked at all. But now we all see. Okay, so let's listen to Brian Stelter here, creep of the year, missing his neck here on CNN.
Many states have reached President Biden's July 4th goal of having 70% of adults vaccinated with at least one dose. And let's be frank, they're mostly blue states. Two Americas is once again in full effect. And brand new Washington Post ABC polling shows the huge divide that exists between political parties. Quote, 86% of Democrats have received at least one shot of the vaccine, compared to only 45% of Republicans. A 40-point spread. Of course, the government is still trying to persuade unvaccinated people. Apparently, their new efforts are going to kick off this week. But it's not too soon to ask, what went wrong? What's to blame for these disparities? I mean, the answer is there are dozens of reasons. But let's hone in on 5 that have to do with media habits, news consumption, and filter bubbles. I count 5 Fs that contributed to vaccine rejection. Facebook, Fox, falsehoods, faith, and fear. Now, the Fox part's obvious, right? Some of the network's biggest stars downplayed the virus and then stoked distrust of the vaccines. But it didn't have to be this way. Numerous studies have shown that fear is a more powerful motivator of conservatives than of liberals. The headline in the corner there says, fear and anxiety drive conservatives' political attitudes. So you might think that fear of the virus would have motivated red state strongholds. But it's the opposite. In the words of this new UC research paper, the distrust of science and public health officials, as well as distrust of modern liberal media sources, actually countermanded responses that reflected people's underlying personality traits. So, what that means, countermanded, it means folks undid their usual positions. They shook off their instincts in response to the virus and all of the polarization. The UC findings also suggest that, quote, Republicans would have been substantially more careful had their media environment encouraged them to do so, plausibly saving many thousands of lives and preventing scores of long-term health problems related to COVID infection. The media clearly had a role here, positive but sometimes very negative. And Fox and MAGA media aren't alone in this. There's also Facebook, with the DC Attorney General now probing the company for its handling of COVID-19 misinformation on the site. Some of the blame is obvious. In other cases, it might take a long time to know the reasons for these vaccine disparities. But in this two Americas dynamic, these competing realms of information about COVID, we see some communities able to recover so much more quickly as a result. This is one of those cases where the impact of media diets is not theoretical, it's not something taught in the classroom, it is practical and affecting all of us in our daily lives.
Oh, sorry. Sorry I even had to put you through it, but I wanted you to be able to understand what I'm about to talk about here with the maps. And I mean, this guy is apparently a head, you know, you're supposed to be compelling or like, yeah, okay, sure. We're supposed to believe that this guy wasn't placed there. This is a map of the 20, could you imagine that guy, like, if that guy wasn't pushed in the media and that guy just started a YouTube channel, what would he have, like 5 people listening to him? Maybe his mom, his grandma, his 2 cousins, and the friend up the road he sleeps with. Anyway, who would probably be male. This is a map of the 2020 electoral college, my voice cracked, electoral college results. And this is a map, this is your brain on drugs, everyone. This is a map of who voted where, and this is a map of the rates of who's been jabbed. Whoa, neato. And it says, the way the article is written is pretty hilarious, right? It says, notice anything? Yeah, I notice propaganda. I notice, am I supposed to believe that because somebody's in Colorado that they've automatically gotten one because it's a liberal state? Okay. By the way, what's funny to note before I continue on here about the Trump and the right, you know, the right way which they try to dump us into, which we're not in. That's one dump that I'm not taking or being a part of. Is that, you know, Trump supposedly had the one-niner. He's the one who rolled in the jabberoos when he was in office. Right? So how can they even link the two? Because I don't hear any.
What the hell is that? Ray, back in the vehicle! Wheeler, move!
Any of these like Q people who are extremely anti the jab. You know, I'm sure there are some. I don't go on the Q blog forums pretty much because I'm not interested in being tracked or reading propaganda or falling into whatever plan is next to corral free speech and everything else, which is what the Q movement's there for. But anyway, this is the article. Notice anything? Assuming your brain is, well, working, you will notice the remarkable overlap between the two maps. States that voted for Biden have higher rates, magic potion rates, while those that went for Donald Trump have far lower ones. And it's not just that, in most cases, the stronger a state went for Biden, the higher the overall jab rate is in that state. That relationship is inversely proportional for Trump. The higher, so how are they relating this to Trump? Trump's the one who supposedly rolled in the jabs. So wouldn't that mean the people who support him would have gone and gotten it? Right? He wasn't like, oh my, and I've covered Trump before all this stuff because I've been covering the jab with the flu and all these other things that have been popping up for years and warning of this. And remember, I recovered, you know, in New York, how schools were doing it, and Trump was saying the schools do need to make it mandatory. So there's no correlation with Trump being anti-jab. He's the one who rolled in the old jabberoo. So how did this even make sense? Oh my, are people that dumb now? What is Q moved to the anti-jabberoo area? And everyone's like anti it, and they don't realize that Trump's the one who rolled this all in. I mean, just because Biden took over, man, pretty amazing. Instead, you know, if Trump was in office at the end and was like, I am not making a jab for this because this reason, that reason, and every other reason, and was saying that the one-niner wasn't real and all that stuff, that would be a different story. But Trump even was, you know, so kind to get the so-called one-niner himself, which just shows you playing the part. So, okay, so this this relationship with the rates here is inversely proportional for Trump. The higher the former president's winning percentage is in a state, the lower, generally speaking, the percentage of the pop is. So here come your numbers. So, for example, Biden won 66, of course it's 66%, of the vote in Vermont in 2020. The same number, 66% of Vermonters are now fully jabbed against the old 1-9. In Minnesota, Biden won 52. This is what you call straight up propaganda, by the way. Biden won 52% of the vote in Minnesota, according to who, by the way. And yup, you guessed it, 52% of the population has been fully jabbed there. In New Mexico, Biden took 54% of the vote. As of now, 55% of New Mexicans are vaccinated against the virus. The flip side is also true. In Idaho, Trump won 64%. Just 36% of the state is fully jabbed. So this is what the article does, and it goes on and on and on. And the whole purpose of this is to continue to divide the people. Left versus right. Left versus right. And how do people actually think who are in the left-right paradigm? How do they actually think this is going to end? Do you think, the people on the right are finally going to see the truth and come to the left? Or are the people on the left finally going to see the truth and come to the right? No, it's going to end, because this is problem, reaction, solution. It's going to end the way that they've already planned all this to end. And it's going to end with somebody who comes in and saves the day. And somebody who comes in and brings world peace, and he appeases both sides. Oh my goodness, and could that be the Antichrist? Sure can. Sure smells that way. Sure, common sense would tell you that. But we don't live in a world with that, because remember, we have people who believe that people are flying around on planets up there, that aliens are on Mars with their own plastic factory and metal factory making spacecrafts and flying down here just to visit, and then heading back up because they're studying our behavior. And meanwhile, Big Brother's making those crafts and flying them around out in the desert, and Big Brother's the one who's been studying your behavior since Operation Paperclip, but actually before that, because since the advent of media and newspapers, it's always been about controlling the masses, and this goes back even way before that, before there were newspapers. So this is what we have. A left-right divide brought to you by CNN, as always. Who else would bring it to you? But people read this, and then they get mad. They're like, they're the ones, the right wing are the ones who are anti. It is an utter joke. Utter joke. And in reality, is that true? I mean, look, they call the right people extremists. There's the left. Everyone who's left is extreme. They're the ones who are taking free speech away. And everyone who's right, I don't even know, because, yeah, I guess they're extreme too. But they're not, the whole thing is it's a charade and a circus. But this is prop to get everybody more divided. Continue. Divide and conquer. Order at a chaos. The Masonic Odos. That's not even a word. The Masonic mottos. I think Odo is the guy from Beetlejuice, right? Anyway, I lost my train of thought. This is Brian Stetler here. Brian Stetler, who's probably, right now, he's probably not working. It's Saturday. He's probably having some bagels somewhere with his kids. But, I mean, you can't make this stuff up, can you? I know I say it often, but it's comical. What is the purpose of the article? Even if all of this was really happening and true, what is the purpose other than to cause division? To blame? Right? And who doesn't get blamed at the end of the day? Big Brother doesn't get blamed. The real thing, the whole thing they're even arguing over of who has it and who doesn't have it, over something that's not even real, is the funniest part of all, which isn't really funny, but it shows you how dumb people are. Put it on TV, stamp a sticker on it, say it's real from the FDA and everyone else, and everybody will drink the Kool-Aid, a la Jonestown, which really wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid, which ironically was inoculation. And that's what we have here. So it's all just fun and games, folks, until someone gets jabbed. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for listening to today's show. Reminder, check out the website at callfornuprising.com. It's $2.99 a month. Share your channel, share your info, help each other in the awakening process. That's what it's for, and that's what it's going to continue to be for. It is excellent. I'm so glad so many people are over there. Hopefully more people will come. I want to thank all of you who are patrons here on YouTube. Because of you, it helps me reach new people. So thank you. Pat yourself on the back. I make as much content as I do. Some people have a lot of patrons and they make one video a year. I mean, I don't know. And I'm not saying truthers. I'm just saying, like, PewDiePies and all these channels that you see. And I see tons of channels, because I don't really even watch any truthers, because no one's really here anymore, just a handful. But I see other channels, if I'm even not trying to think about something, I go, they have patrons. They have thousands of patrons, and I'm like, oh, all right, they got a lot of support, even though they have like, you know, not that many subs. And then you look and you're like, they make one video every 6 months. Pretty incredible. So become a Patreon if you're not. And if you're not a Patreon and you know, there's other truther channels out there that put out great content. And it doesn't matter how much you put out, but I'm just making a point. There's other truther channels out there too that could use support as well. Staying here on YouTube is a reason that there's a shortage of content on YouTube with truther content, because of what they've done to everyone. So support your truther channels that you like here on YouTube, all of them, whoever they may be. If you like their content, it will help them go a long way. They definitely appreciate it, whether you are told that from them directly or not. I know I appreciate everyone who's here. So thank you guys. I appreciate all of you greatly. And God bless you and your families.